Hello and welcome to Purpose Girl TV. I'm your host, Leslie Denman, the Purpose Diva and your Girls Empowerment Life Coach. In this episode, we're going to be continuing our conversation on identity. So if you are a girl struggling to find your place in the world, you are in the right place. And I am here to help you build a solid foundation for success. And it all starts with a sense of identity. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to the previous episode, I would encourage you to do so. And right now, call up your friends and let them know that Purpose TV is on. And be sure to tune in because you know the Purpose Diva is going to empower us with the information that we need to be our awesome self. So are you ready to get started? Let's talk about what you need to know about what is true about you. Yes, a girl's journey to discovering her true self means that you have to know what is absolutely true about you. So when I talk about truth, it's really quite simple. The definition is in accordance with fact or reality, accurate or exact. So I want to make sure you understand what I mean when I say what's true about you. Because many things that we believe about ourselves are merely opinions. Opinions we have about ourselves, opinions about what our parents may think, what our friends and peers may think. We have allowed their truth to become our truth. But I want you to take this opportunity to really think about. I want to say that again. I want you to think about what is really true, what's accurate, what's exact, and the fact about you. Now you might think, okay, me. What about me? Because we have so many aspects of ourselves. So let's talk about that. Yourself, a person's essential being that distinguishes them from others, especially considered as the object of introspection or reflexive action. So the question is, who are you? The true, the exact, the essential you. Think about that for a minute because that's the question of the day. That's what we're going to be talking about in this episode. Who are you? Now, this is part of I'm giving you kind of an overview, a surface about a course that we dive deep into in our Purpose Girls Academy. And it's our Identity Formation One-on-One course. And the reason this course is important to me is because you've told me it's important to you. And I've talked with enough of you to understand that you really don't have a clear sense of identity. And that's really nothing to be too ashamed about, depending on how old you are. Because here's what I share with the girls in the course. You are the only person that is with you 365, 24/7. And sadly, many of us know more about the guy we like, our friends, and our haters than we know about our true self, because that's where we're focusing all of our energy. So when you meet this guy, now this is how, I'm going to just go a little bit into the class. Now, I ask the girls to imagine that guy that kind of makes their heart flutter, that gets them feeling some kind of way. And think about the first time you saw him, whether it was in the classroom, in the lunchroom, down the hall, at a party, at the mall. You saw him and your eyes locked. And somewhere along the way, you got together. Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? And eventually this question comes up. So, tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do in that instance? Many of the girls kind of look like a deer when you turn on the headlights. It's kind of like, huh? And here's what we do. Boy, you're so crazy. What you mean? Who am I? Who are you? And this is all in an attempt to just kind of make sure that we skate by the question because we're not really sure, right? We start saying things like, Well, my name is Leslie. I'm 16. I'm a Cancer. My favorite color is purple. I like to go to the movies. I don't have a lot of friends because, I don't like drama. Girls can be so messy, and I don't have time for the drama. And I don't want no guy that's going to lie to me and who's going to be unfaithful to me. And, these are the things that we start saying. But is that really who you are? Is that really the true, the exact, the essential you? Now think about that. Who are you? And you may say, I don't know, because that's what most girls, they ask. Because I go around to each one in the room and I'll say, okay, tell me who you are. And it never fails that there are probably one, no more than two, that can tell me or give me a glimpse into who they are. And it's usually those girls that moms that say, you know what, I know that this is for teen girls, but listen, my daughter is 11 or 12 and she needs to be in this class. And these girls are usually the ones that have a clearer sense of who they are, who they think they are, than some of the teenagers. And I'm sure that that is due most in part to just how hard it is to be a girl in this urban culture. All of the images about identity, you need to look this way, you need to wear this, you need to hang out with these people, you need to go to this school, you need to live in this neighborhood. And what happens when none of that is really you? That's where many of our girls lie. We have taken on other people's ideas. We want to look like this person, and we're basically, if the truth be told, we're like identity thieves. We don't know who we are, so we're just going to borrow someone else's identity. But not anymore. Not after this episode. So let's go. Let's go a little bit deeper. Here is my go-to definition of identity. You are what you value and believe, and that should be reflected in your behavior. Yes, ma'am. That's my go-to definition of identity. That's what I live by. What I value and believe, that is reflected in my behavior. If you are around me any length of time, you know that there are certain things that I value above all else. There are certain things that I believe, and for the most part, that is reflected in my behavior. Okay, so what about you? What do you value and believe? Okay, I want to make sure before you answer that you have a good understanding. A good understanding. Because right now I would ask the girls in the class, okay, who can define value and who can define belief? Because many times we try to go about doing things that we don't quite understand what it is. And there is no harm in saying you don't know. Because even the smartest person, there are things they did not know until they learned. And that's what I want you to remember. And this is your time of discovery. So don't be afraid to say, I don't know what that means. Okay? So let's talk about it. Value. A person's principles or standards of behavior. One's judgment of what is important in life. Okay? What principles govern your life? Right now, what principles govern and guide your life? What is important to you? Your standards. And then your belief, that trust, faith, or confidence in someone or something. Because this is at the core of who you are. And on some level, we all have a value and belief system. We just didn't know what it was. Because I can guarantee you that there are some things that someone can ask you to do, and your immediate response will be no. I'm not going to do that. See, that's your value and belief system kicking in. Then there are some things that you may not be too sure about that someone asks you to do. You do it, and immediately you say, you know what? I knew I shouldn't have did that. Man, that's not even me. And that's true. So we've had those moments. Think about the last thing you did that you know you shouldn't have done. And then think about how you felt when you had to experience the benefit. See, that's one of the things my father taught me when I was coming up. He's like, Les, do what you do because you want to do it. That way you can accept the consequences. See, there's nothing like getting in trouble for something that you really didn't want to do in the first place. So this is what I'm talking about, your value and your belief system. So again, what do you value? What principles guide your life? When I was growing up, there was a time when your name meant everything. When I was growing up, I was told, Jones don't act like that. Bryants don't do that. Or this is how Bryants operate. And this is how Jones carry themselves. It was pride in the name. That's not so much anymore. You know, Even then, we had a choice. We could do what we wanted to do, even though we were told this is how we operate. These are principles and values that govern this family name. We could do what we wanted to, but we chose not to because that is what was expected of us. And on some level, we accepted and believed that as our truth. So, what about you? What does your family name stand for? Are there some things you will and will not do because you are blank? Whatever that name is, just fill in that blank. See, for me, I'm a Jones and I'm a Bryan at the core. And then I'm married into the Denman family. So, here are some things that do and do not happen. And then there are some things that we do as a result of being in this type of family. Now, here's what I know and what I've noticed is that this question is not being asked as much of this generation. And it's probably because there was a saying that was on Facebook that I really believe because I'm considered old school. And a lot of these values have been lost because no one is sitting on the porch picking peas with grandma anymore. No one is in the kitchen making lunch and dinner and supper with grandma anymore because this was the wisdom that was shared. And now we have a generation that seems, and I'm going to say seems not to really respect that anymore. And so I'm here to encourage you that that's really what's going to be needed. So I'm going to encourage you to find someone in your life that you see as a vessel of wisdom that you can glean from. Because it's very important. Because this is how you determine what you value. These are the principles. So in this class, we also provide our girls with a set of values because you got to know. And not knowing is unacceptable. And you got to know. If you're listening to me now, you got to know what you value now more than ever. When morale and morality is the way that it is in our country, you got to know for sure what you value. And there has got to be some non-negotiables, some things that you will not waver on no matter what. So we provide our girls with a list of values, 50 or more, and we give them some time to really think about it. And we provide the definition of these values so that they can get a good understanding about what it is that they're holding true and then why. Because in life, trust me, I can tell you, your values and your belief systems are going to be challenged, and you got to know that you know that you know what you value and what you believe. And people won't too much question you if they can see it in the way that you act and carry yourself in your day-to-day existence. Okay, so value. Let me just share a few. Achievement, beauty, compassion, dependability, education, family, knowledge, love. This is just a very, very short list. But this is just to kind of give you an idea of what values are, what's true for you. And everybody's value system is different based on where they live, their ethnicity, their culture. Everybody's value is different. But there are some values that are common among people. That's why it's important that you know this so that when someone asks you or when he asks you, who are you? You'll begin to talk about what you value. And then they will say, oh, okay, well, she seems to have her head on straight. I'm not going to be able to run too much game on her. Or, you know what? This is the kind of girl I'm looking for. Somebody that's smart, that got their head on, got a future, got plans and dreams and goals, and not just talking about them. But as you continue to talk about what you value, then they know that you're also a girl of action and that you are serious about living in and on purpose. So my question is, what do you believe now that you got the value system? What do you believe? Let's talk about your belief system, because these two kind of have to marry. They got to merge. They got to coexist. They have to be in sync. What you value and what you believe. So I'm going to share with you a some of the things that I value. And that way it will kind of help you get an idea of some belief systems. I believe that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I believe that. I believe I'm a kingdom citizen. I believe God loves me. I believe passion gives way to purpose, and purpose positions you to prosper. I believe that I'm open to abundance and prosperity. I believe that every thought, word, or deed is a seed sown into the ground, and whatever I plant will grow. That seed is going to grow good or bad. So, what about you? What do you value and what do you believe? And is that reflected in your behavior? The way in which one acts or conducts oneself, especially towards others. The way in which an animal or a person acts in response to a particular situation or stimulus. So think about that for a minute. What do you value? What do you believe? And is that being reflected in your behavior? And I would say that many of you would be like, well, no, not really. And that's okay, because you didn't have this information before now, or maybe it wasn't explained the way it is being explained to you now, or maybe you just weren't ready to hear it or receive it until now. But I want to challenge you that many of you are operating as thermometers when you were really created to be thermostats. You are adapting to your environment when really your mere existence should be able to shift or change the environment based on what you value and what you believe. The way you carry yourself, certain people shouldn't be able to say anything in your presence or do anything in your presence. If they are, that's a sign that you are living your life as a thermometer. People should have to adjust their behavior, their language, and their actions in your presence merely out of respect because you carry yourself in such a way. Okay? Now, can I share something with you? That even though when you know who you are, you tend to respond more than you react. With all of the violence that's happening, that's being shown to us, and that's being exposed in the schools, with the girls that are fighting, over a guy or whatever it may be. See, that lets me know that these girls are reacting to certain things. And I have to remind parents, when I'm talking to parents, I have to remind parents, you have to be there when our young girls are going through their teen years. Because this is a time when they experience so many firsts. Things that we've gone through and overcome, but then there are certain things that happen to us in our teen years that we still carry. They are still open wounds in our adult life. But you have to, as a parent, help your girls go through their first heartbreak, their first betrayal, their first friendship, their first love. It may seem silly to us because we've been there, but how many of us as mothers can honestly say that, hey, we still carry a certain feeling for that first love? So it's not something that you can just get rid of. That is a human, that is real, that is so real for our young girls. And for us to tell many of them to just kind of get over it, well, all of these girls are fighting over young men and these boys and this, okay, you would fight right now if a woman stepped to your husband wrong. You would fight right now if a man stepped to your wife or your girlfriend wrong. You would fight for your kids. There is a certain thing that will happen to us, an experience that can happen that will cause us to react when we should be responding because we're all human. But then we want to come down so hard on our young people when many of them are merely modeling what we've shown them and what we are showing them. Let's just be real about it. The young lady that died. I mean, come on. That fight, okay, it may have started off over a guy, but let's just be real about it. It was deeper than that. That was probably somebody feeling a certain level of rejection. And that was probably either the first time or numerous times that they've been rejected. I like him, he likes her. I don't want to get into all, I'm just giving examples. and he doesn't like me, so I'm going to react to her because there's something about her that he likes. I don't have it. I don't know how to change it. Even, we don't realize that he might be a great guy, but he may not be great for me. And that's hard for a girl to wrap her mind around. But that could be a first time of rejection, or if your peers are constantly in your face reminding you and causing you to react when you should be responding, that's a lot for a mind that is not fully developed to try to comprehend. And then we have to also understand that everybody's normal is different. So if a young girl comes from a home that reacting is the norm, or that violence is the way that we react, then what is she to do? We can all look and cast judgment, but our environment plays a huge part in how we react and how we respond. So I heard a lot of people, and it saddened me to hear people talk about, we need to, these girls need to be locked up and the key needs to be thrown away. These girls need, okay, so we're going to lock up an angry young woman, and what, 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, release an angry woman? So where was what was addressed? And I'm not condoning behavior. I'm not, that young lady lost her life saddens me. But we've got to find a way that we can reach out to these girls, that we can help them develop better behavior so that they can learn how to respond. But that's a whole nother conversation. Let's not digress. But that's a conversation that I've been having with a lot of youth service providers, just trying to figure out where everybody's mind is when it comes to these incidences. Because we can't come down so hard on our kids when all the reality shows that are out there, violence is the name of the game. Throw water in her face, slap her, talk about her, and the ratings are through the roof. So how can we be upset when our young people are merely doing what they see us doing? So young girl, here's what I want to say to you. Understand what you value and what you believe, and let that be reflected in your behavior, because that's what shapes your character. Your character, the mental and moral quality distinctive to an individual. When we go and talk to schools and introduce our program, our after-school programs and these things, the one thing that they tell us that more often than not is, we really need this, because we need to develop the character in our young people. They don't know how to engage and address adults. They just, they got major attitude. They don't know how to, behave in certain areas. And that's kind of to be expected, because again, we're talking about teens. But it has to be intentional on the teens' part, or else it won't happen. And I think that we need to place more emphasis on this whole idea of identity. It always saddens me when we do this workshop that there's no waiting list. I have high expectations, and I know that this is really important because the girls have told me it's important. But at the same time, parents don't seem to realize how much our young girls are struggling in the area of identity until it's too late. And then they don't respond, they react. And we wonder why our kids are so reactive. Because I get phone calls all the time and emails, and I'm appreciative for them because I'm going to do everything that I can to help. But I can only do so much when we're always reacting. Or we'll get with a group of girls and the behavior start changing, and then the parent will just pull them out for whatever reason. It's like, no, we're making progress. This is long term. Stay the course. Her character is changing, but we've got to make sure that foundation is set. Everybody loves a beautiful house, but nobody really gets excited about the foundation until it's a crack. And then we get nervous because now all of our investment is in jeopardy. And I don't want that to be the case. So young girl, I want you to understand your value and belief systems are crucial to your identity. That's the whole reason why we're doing this. And your character is essential to your I can't even get it out. Your oh my goodness, longevity. I don't know what happened just there. Your longevity. Because your name, your reputation, and influence can give you access to a lot of places. but it's your character that's going to determine how long you stay there. So we can all fool, Florida Evans said it best. You can fool some people all the time. You can fool all the people some of the time, but you can't fool your mama none of the time. And the truth is, you can't fool yourself all the time. There's going to come a point where you're going to say, you know what, I'm better than this. I don't even know why I keep acting like this. I don't like who I am. Young girls like, I don't know, I always seem to be attracting the wrong kind of guy. I said, that's because you're not sure who you are. Because we are what we attract. And if you are that young girl that feels like you're attracting the wrong kind of girls and wrong kind of friends, I'm telling you, you are operating as a thermometer, and I need you to get clear about who you are so that you can become the thermostat you were created to be. All right, now, that I believe is about enough to help you. Now, I said this. I was going to empower you with some information to help you get clear about who you are. And I believe I've done that, talking about the values, talking about just the principles that govern your life, your belief system. What do you trust? Where your faith lies? Where is your confidence? And I want you to check with some of your friends. And here's what I want you to do, just so we can make sure that, because I'm all about not just empowering you, but the people around you. They've got to be on point. They've got to be moving in the same direction you're moving, or you need to move on, okay? So here's what you need to do. Go ahead, if you haven't, subscribe. Subscribe to the channel and share this information with your friends. The first time, I want you to just listen, but then come back and with your friends, just go through some of these exercises. And if you're a parent, an educator, executive director, program director, youth pastor, youth coordinator, anybody that works with young girls, and you're saying, you know what, my girls need to hear this, give us a call. We have a whole class on this, and we dive deep. I'm going to give you this quick testimony because it really blessed me. And it helped me, just reminds me that what we're doing is really important. We had the Identity Formation course in our Purpose Girls Academy, Identity Formation 101. And we offered this course maybe 4 to 6 months ago. And one of the young ladies that was in the course, we were recently together. And through conversation, she was talking to some other teens. And out of her mouth, she just said, I am independence. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I had to give her a high five. To have her be able to say that. And she took this class maybe 4 months ago. That let me know that this was something that she really needed, and she remembered. That means that every day she is beginning to operate in this, because the more you operate and understand who you are, the more you will grow mentally, spiritually, emotionally. This is the process of grooming. And the more that you do this, you begin to step into your true identity. And that, girlfriend, is true power. So stay connected to us. Now, I know Facebook is not that popular with our young girls, but I think a few of you are still there. And parents, I want to encourage you, go and like our page. We are on Instagram. I'm getting a little more active there. I know I need to do better. And I just recently had a 12-year-old help me to get a good grasp on Snapchat. Yes, you can learn from anybody, honey. Because we are determined to invade this urban culture by any means necessary. So subscribe and share with your friends. And until the next episode, I want you to celebrate all that you are and focus less on what you are not. Okay? Because in our eyes, we can always find somebody prettier, taller, shorter, thinner, whatever. But we fail. Remember, you spend 365, 24/7 with yourself. It's time for you to start celebrating yourself, honey. You are awesome. You are awesome. So focus on all that is great about you and worry less about what is not, because there's always room for improvement. But we tend to want to change what we don't necessarily embrace or understand. And I don't want that to be your case, all right? Until next time, Purpose Girls, I want to tell you to have a fantabulous day. And be sure to tune in to the next episode. This is Leslie Denman, the Purpose Diva, your girls empowerment life coach. This is Purpose Girl TV, and I'll see you next time.